Welcome, everyone. I would like to call to order the regular board meeting of Vallecitos Water District for August 5th, 2026. Before we begin, I would like to announce that members of the public may watch the meeting live online by visiting the district's website and clicking the Watch Live icon. However, they will not be able to participate in the meeting remotely, and we always welcome members of the public to come to our board meetings. Director Brown, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Tanis. Directors, please indicate your attendance. Do we have any additions to the agenda tonight?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda for the regular meeting for this evening?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Director Ellitharp, second by Director Brown. Please vote. Motion passes. Do we have the honor of having any public speakers tonight?
We have not received any requests to
Okay.
speak on non-agenda items.
Well, maybe we're doing some things right then, if we don't have a lot of people from the public. That's how I like to think of it. We have a really short consent calendar for tonight. I think there's just one thing on it, so we can't really, we have two things on the consent calendar. So is there a desire to pull anything from the consent calendar? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, motion by Director Hernandez, second by Director Pennick. Please vote. Motion passes. So one action item, request approval of the Meadowlark Water Reclamation Facility Asset Replacement CIP project.
Yeah, so I'm going to hand this thing right over to our A-team here in operations with our Director of Operations and our Mechanical Maintenance Managers.
Thank you, General Manager. Good evening, directors and members of the public. My name is Chris Muller, and I'm the district's Mechanical Maintenance Manager. Today, I will be presenting the Meadowlark Water Reclamation Facility Asset Replacement Project. First, I will provide some background and walk you through a brief timeline of the ongoing project at the Meadowlark Water Reclamation Facility, or MRF. Then I will discuss the need for this new capital improvement project, its overall scope, and its benefits to the district. Next, I will discuss the fiscal impact creating this project will have. And finally, I will conclude with the staff's recommendation and take any questions you may have. In June of 2024, the board awarded a construction contract at the Meadowlark Water Reclamation Facility for the MRF chlorine contact tank expansion project and the conversion to sodium hypochlorite project, now referred to as the combined project. In August of 2024, a notice to proceed was issued and recycled water production ceased in December of the same year. As a reminder, with the contractor's construction activities progressing behind schedule, the combined project timeline has been extended, delaying startup and commissioning activities. In June of 2026, as part of the pre-startup activities for the combined project, district staff conducted operational readiness evaluations of the critical treatment processes at the MRF. The combined project is currently in the final stages of construction, with startup and commissioning activities anticipated to follow in August of this year. The contractor's current schedule shows project completion in late September of 2026. The need for this project is driven by the importance of operational preparedness to address potential equipment failures during the transition back to full operation. Although the assets included in this project are currently operational and are not preventing the contractor from proceeding with startup and commissioning activities, they remain critical components of the treatment process. It is important to note that these assets identified in this project are outside the scope of the combined project contractor's responsibilities. As a result, the contractor is not responsible for their repair or replacement. Many of these assets require specialized equipment with long procurement lead times. In addition, some equipment has been idle for approximately 18 months, increasing the risk of failure when returned to service. An unexpected failure of one of these critical assets could disrupt startup and commissioning activities and delay the restoration of recycled water production. To mitigate these risks, staff is proposing the creation of this capital improvement project to provide a dedicated funding mechanism for the repair or replacement of critical assets and equipment. The combined MRF project is nearing completion, with startup and commissioning activities scheduled to follow. As part of the pre-startup activities conducted in June, district staff performed operational readiness evaluations to assess the condition and reliability of existing assets and equipment that are outside the scope of the combined MRF project. These evaluations considered factors such as equipment age, condition, maintenance history, operational observations, and the criticality of each asset to the treatment process. Based on these evaluations, staff identified and prioritized 3 high-risk, non-tertiary assets: the primary sludge pumps, the headworks augers, and the influent pumps. These assets represent the greatest operational risk based on their criticality to plant operations and the potential impact if a failure were to occur. As shown in the table here, the estimated repair replacement costs are $63,000 for the primary sludge pumps, $50,000 for the headworks augers, and $105,000 for the influent pumps. While all 3 assets are currently operational, no immediate repairs or replacements are being requested at this time. The benefits of creating this project are that it provides the district with a proactive approach to managing the risks identified during pre-startup activities. This effort supports the district's priority of completing the combined MRF project and restoring recycled water production as reliably as possible. By establishing a dedicated funding mechanism for critical asset replacements, the district will be positioned to respond quickly if an equipment issue does occur. This helps minimize potential downtime, reduce impacts to the startup and commissioning schedule, and supports timely restoration of recycled water production. In addition, this project provides financial flexibility by allowing eligible asset replacements to be funded as capital improvements, while preserving department operating and maintenance budget capacity for routine expenses and ongoing operational needs. As shown in the table here, the estimated project cost includes $218,000 for equipment, $3,000 for outside services, $49,000 for staff overhead, and $30,000 for contingency. The total requested capital budget for this project is $300,000. Funding is available through the Sewer Replacement Fund, and no additional funding source is required. Any project funds that are not expended will remain available within the Sewer Replacement Fund for future eligible needs. Staff recommend the board approve the creation of the Meadowlark Water Reclamation Facility Asset Replacement Project with a budget of $300,000 funded by the Sewer Replacement Fund to provide funding for the prompt replacement of critical treatment assets if failure occurs. I'll take any questions the board may have.
Thank you, Chris, for that presentation. Very informative. Do we have questions? Director Alatar?
Yeah, I just wanted to say we heard this item at Engineering Equipment Committee, and committee supports it.
Great, thank you. Any other comments?
Quick question.
Okay.
I was hoping this real quick, but it's very nice.
Turn your speaker on.
Yes. So, no, I like some of those hot topics you hit as far as not operating, but on a CIP budget. Quick question. One of the things you said, long time for procurement, if something pumps a pump or something breaks.
Correct.
So this is like a one time, it's not an ongoing, it's like just in case of.
Exactly.
These pumps, are these pumps like available on the open market? And is there, I mean, I'm not saying how to do the job, but I'm just, for clarification, is there a reason we're not just ordering these pumps, have them on hand, and if we don't need them, return them? Are these things like returnable?
So a lot of the equipment identified in the CIP are specialized equipment, and therefore they're made to order.
So they're made to order.
And
okay.
that's why
therefore the long lead time.
Correct.
Okay, so it's not like, hey, let's do an Amazon thing, order them and then return them if we don't need them.
No.
Gotcha.
Cold won't take it as fast.
Okay, because they're specific, specialized.
They are, yeah.
Short order return chlorine, no, okay, no, thank you.
I have a follow-up question on the 18-month lead time. So assuming the board approves the funding, you have the money on hand in case you need to buy it in case of a failure. But the concern was that you wanted to make sure that everything was operational for the commissioning. So if something has an 18-month lead time, aren't we in the same position that we were
Just
before?
one clarification, it's not 18 months in lead time. The equipment's been down for 18 months during the construction window. So that, it puts it at higher risk during startup. Each equipment will have a different lead time item, hopefully well below 18 months.
Okay, sorry, I guess I misunderstood that. So it would be like, you're talking weeks, not months.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, but
Yeah, go ahead.
similar question, I mean, say we start it all up, one of these pumps breaks, it's like crap, it's been, rusted out for 18 months. To order one of these specialized parts, I mean, what are we looking at? Another, what is the lead time to order a specialized
It
pump?
depends on the equipment, but, we see, 1 to 2 months is very typical for something like that. Some of the smaller items, 2 to 3 weeks.
So if something doesn't work, it's still a month or two out.
And that's why we're trying to take the proactive
Yeah,
approach of
yeah,
at least having the
At least have the
funding.
funds available to make that order, wait
Procure,
2
yeah.
months, get the part, and then plug it back in, and
Yes, sir.
hope nothing else breaks.
Yeah.
Director Brown?
So I know there've been some delays and stuff with this project, but is it the fact that being shut down really does, leaves a lot of unknowns related to getting it back up and going like full force?
That's exactly right. Yeah, low flows right now. Once we ramp up, we're not really sure how the, aged equipment will react to that. If we have issues, the idea is to just be proactive and be able to replace those items.
Okay, and there's no consequences to the construction company that we're using now that's working on this. This is a new project that, now, we're not required to use that same agency, are we, to work on this once, if things should?
No, so most of this work, depending on what happens, probably staff will perform based on the way the budget is laid out. This is really so we could get the equipment as quick as possible, so staff could perform it. If something happens, what staff will end up doing is analyzing the best way, the quickest way to get that equipment back online. And that may be just maybe replacing portions of it, doing some type of repair, but either way, it will have the funding available. So if we don't need a whole new pump, but we could do some type of repair mechanism, we have now funding for that. So at some point, operations staff working, or if they need to get engineering staff involved, will analyze the best way to get this equipment back up and running. And this provides a funding mechanism to do that.
Okay, so this is a holding tank of money that we're gonna use as needed?
If needed, yeah.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
Sorry, one more question.
Yeah, go ahead, Director.
I know I don't like to spend money, but this is a different one here. Why not just, the reason you're concerned about it is you're concerned about it. Something's not gonna happen after 18 months, something's gonna break. Why not just buy the pumps now, so when it starts in September, if they break, they're ready to go. If they don't, then we have a replacement part on hand.
Well, all of the assets in this CIP are functioning, are operational, and we would like to budget for those in a future CIP. But given the criticality of getting the plant back up running and finish
Right.
the project, we thought that this would be an appropriate way to go about it without spending unnecessary funds.
Gotcha. So given the criticality of it, we don't have any spare parts on hand now?
No, not for this specialized equipment, yeah.
And we don't want to have those on hand? I mean, I know what you're saying, don't spend the money
Yeah.
now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing.
Some of the
I'm
equipment-
in that camp,
Yeah.
however,
Some of the equipment, we're not able to shelf for very long. The rubber will, dry out and that sort of thing. So, yeah, that has been explored as well.
clarified. Thank you.
Thank you for your proactive approach. I share Director Pennick's concerns, like why not purchase it now, but I also trust your technical judgment and your operational background. So with that, I will move that we approve the funds to purchase the assets for $300,000. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Seconded by Director Brown. Please vote. Motion passes. Thank you.
Good job, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to GM report.
So I only have a few items, but they're a little bit larger items. So we had a customer come in last board meeting. The board asked us to look into that item and bring it back as a report. So we did talk to the customer and get down to the bottom of it. That customer has been refunded and their bill has been adjusted. The backflow was determined to not be required. We went through the process of how that happened and by using a third party. And we now have a different process, and even if we use a third party, a different process in place to ensure that a mistake won't happen in the future. So that's been rectified, customer's bill has been corrected and refunded accordingly. Fluoridation. The board may recall that Livenheim months ago stopped adding fluoride to the water. And staff has been working diligently with Department of Drinking Water, DDW, on our process. We're a little bit different because for Livenheim, their whole system went to a reduced fluoride level. So they were able to give out basically a generic letter that went out to their customers. For us, it's only a portion of our systems. The main portion of our systems are in the neighborhoods of Oak Creek Ranch, San Leo Hills, La Costa area, a little bit above, going up Rancho Santa Fe into like Alga. So we had to identify those areas, work with DDW. The Department of Drinking Water also got the, I guess, professors from the UC San Francisco involved in what the letter needs to say. So currently, we are working with the DDW and UCSF professors, and we have an outline of a letter. My intent is to get a draft letter to all the board members that is going out, that's going to be required for us to send out. And once we get the green light from the regulatory agency, DDW, we'll end up sending those letters out. Essentially, the letter says water's safe, there's no violation, but there's a reduction in fluoride levels compared to what the state recommends. There's still fluoride in the water. And if you have any concerns at all, you could talk to your healthcare professional, but the water's still safe, is in a nutshell. So whether it's this week or early next week, I'll be sending out a copy of the draft letter. If there's any major concerns from the board members on that, please let either Kirsten or I know what your concerns are. At the end of the day, the letter has to have what the Department of Drinking Water in it, so we may not have a lot of flexibility in changing it. But if board members get any contacts or calls when this letter goes out, I want you to be armed with that. And if there's any questions or information that staff needs to come back to provide the board with any additional information for that, we'd be more than happy to.
Question.
Yes.
Is there any chance that the rest of the district may get a reduction in the fluoride levels?
No. So the Water Authority is still fluoriding, and Met is still fluoriding. Majority of our water that comes through Twin Oaks comes from Skinner, which is Met, and obviously the desal plant water is CWA, and that is still fluoridated. Water sources coming from Weiss, which is Oceanside, still has active fluoridation. Next time, unless there's any other questions on that. So we had an emergency repair on Twin Oaks Valley Road. We have a fairly large steel pipeline there, and it appears that our valve is leaking, and we're replacing a 24-inch valve. So
That's the walk-up music.
it is. I like it. So Staff will come back when we have the final information on that and report back to the board, but currently that is emergency repair that will be going underway. It's not a big leak, but it is a leak that was detected. Retreat, just a reminder, we scheduled the board retreat for 9/29, and I believe Kirsten sent out information on subject items. First half of the retreat is really staff-driven, including our technical goals and strategic objectives, along with any special items that are going to be brought up, whether the board requested it in the past or bringing it by staff. Second half of the retreat is really an open forum for the board, the subject the board wants to talk about with each other. So I look forward to getting that. I'm sure we'll send out a couple more reminders since the board really drives the agenda in the second half of the retreat. That concludes my presentation, unless there's any other questions.
So I had a question about the, we talked about this offline a little bit, about the hacking of the water systems in Minnesota by an unknown party. I think it was
Yeah.
Iran. So yeah, I'd love to hear just kind of, I know we just got an update and we just had our systems tested for security, and that was ended up to be very timely. So thank you for that. But if you could just share what you know about the Minnesota hack and how we're protected against
Yeah,
that.
so before we get started, and President KERSCHBAUM, I'm glad you brought that up. So the board did get a closed session cybersecurity update so we won't be talking about anything specific today that was talked about in closed session. However, I did ask our Chief Technology Officer, Matthias, to discuss what we know of what happened in Minnesota and maybe some of the securities or differences here in Vallecitos. So, Matthias?
Thank you, GM Gumpel, members of the board. Appreciate the questions. All over the news, it seems plastered. There's always one event or another, most of which are negative. Unfortunately, a lot of these incidents that we're hearing about have one commonality, and that is that the operational technology systems were directly connected to the internet. A lot of those systems, in these cases, specifically in Minnesota, Michigan, Georgia, Washington, a lot of those had default passwords. For example, you buy something off the shelf, a router, username and password might be admin. It says, might want to think about changing that. Some of those pieces of equipment, and in case anyone has any at home, you might want to change yours. Yeah, that's the commonality that we find across the board is two things that are prevalent mistakes. One, those devices and equipment should never be connected directly to the internet. That's number one. And number two, those passwords are not supposed to remain the default. And so that's kind of the main reason you're seeing a lot of these. A lot of these smaller water agencies, unfortunately, don't have the expertise or experience in building out cybersecurity infrastructure, and equipment is plugged in, connected to the internet. Seems like everything is connected to the internet now. Your oven, your microwave, you name it, it's connected and it's accessible. And so these kinds of things, unfortunately, are going to continue to happen. But I want to give some reassurance, right? That's the bad, that it will continue to happen. You can rest assured. We did have an assessment in May that we discussed in closed session. We're not going to get into the details of that. However, they did validate, they as in the Department of Homeland Security, they validated our architecture, how things are set up, if we're set up properly, if things are accessible from the outside. A lot of the things that unfortunately were not the case in these other instances that you're hearing about pretty regularly now. And none of those things did turn up. So we passed those tests. It's not it's an iterative process. Ultimately, we'll continue to secure our networks. We have multiple layers. We're doing a lot of monitoring. Systems are not connected to the internet, and that's what I can say at this point.
So, and, you know, one of the things I want to assure the board is there's no such thing as a hacker-proof or system, but we've definitely hit all the best practices, and the team's done a great job. They've changed our standard passwords from 1234 to 12345. So at least I know, well, strike that out of the recording. So.
Thank you very much. That's really interesting, and I appreciate the background on kind of what happened with those other systems. So we appreciate your expertise. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, moving right along to legal counsel.
Thanks for having me. Nothing on my end today, but nice to meet you all.
All right, you're adding maybe. Oh, I think I lost the record already, but that's okay. So County Water Authority had a very light agenda. I wasn't able to attend, but I was driving to a fun destination, so I listened to pretty much the entire meeting. So the only actionable items to report is the board approved award of a contract to isolate the hydroelectric facility at Lake Hodges, and that's because the dam is failing and we can't use that electric facility anymore. There was also continuation of the emergency declaration for repair of pipeline 3, I think it was, which that did affect, that's our service line to Vallecitos. The biggest item of the meeting was I wasn't there, but the board recognized Director Gary Arant, who passed away shortly before the board meeting. So there was a moment of silence and a lot of remarks for Director Arant. He became a friend of mine while I was on the board, and we served together as co-vice chairs of the Administration and Finance Committee. So he was a mentor and a teacher, and he'll be missed. So thank you.
35 years as GM, I believe 25 years on the Water Authority Board.
Yeah, so nobody else had the knowledge and history that he did, and he was such a passionate advocate for our region, and it's really a huge loss. He was at the board meeting like 2 weeks before, he passed away, so that just shows you his dedication to serving the public. And so I will personally miss Gary, and the whole entire board is, it's a loss for us. So, and that's my report for County Water Authority. ENCINA?
We did not have any meetings this month at ENCINA.
Standing committees.
Yeah, we had an engineering equipment committee meeting that I mentioned earlier on the 28th of July. Items for discussion: capital facilities end of fiscal year update, development services mid-calendar year update, and the Meadowlark water reclamation facility asset replacement project item that we took action on this evening. And I want to commend staff for the very thorough information that they provided committee. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Why is this, so, hold on one second. Oh, P3. Okay, so P3 meeting, okay. We have quarterly board expenses on other business. Do we need to discuss those, or?
There's just information item on it.
Okay, all right. Directors' reports, were there any meetings, conferences, or seminars attended the last few weeks? Nope. We got to get out there, folks. Start going to stuff.
Been too hot.
It has been. Did you have something?
Well, the last 2 weeks, I helped out at the State of the Community. Vallecitos had a table there, and Chris Robbins had a little accident coming home from work, so I didn't know if we were going to be covered. So I helped Nick at that event.
Nick is our new
Nick
public relations.
is the
Okay.
new Lisa.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we had a lot of people come up to the table, and then last night was National Night Out, another tabling activity, and that's my gig. I kind of like that kind of stuff. So really, a lot of community interest. we have these little cards, these little playing cards that have water information on that are so fun. And I've had 2 people come up to me and said, those cards are so cool. I mean, people that are using those as like trivia games and stuff like that. My friend who plays pickleball, when they're taking a break from pickleball, they take the cards and play 'em. So we're getting a lot of outreach in our local community.
That's great.
In terms of people coming up and not complaining, and really, we've kind of started talking a little bit about the academy coming up in October. So,
Yeah, great. Yeah, and we'll start advertising that academy like maybe next month or so.
Yes, and I think there's also the fall between the pipes. We'll be advertising that also. So,
Okay.
So we'll be doing our normal between social media and actually the between the pipes newsletter.
Will the academy have a bus tour of the MRF?
No,
shoot.
with the timing being so close this year, it wasn't prudent to schedule the buses just in case MRF, even if it is started up, they still may be going through operational teething with the new system. And, last thing we want to do is, have a fire drill where staff is trying to get a piece of equipment or doing something on site. We want to make sure that plant is running in good shape before we have a tour. So my hope is maybe next year.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Any other comments or future agenda items? All right, this meeting is adjourned.